Hey everybody, the cat's out of the bag. I was down at Hasbro headquarters to see the new N Series darts and lineup of blasters, and it was awesome. Kind of a funny story, when I got the invitation, I thought it was just an invitation to take myself down there. I was gonna drive down to Rhode Island. It's a pretty good drive for me, but I was gonna do it. I wasn't going to miss this. And then I found out they were flying me down, and I'm like, that's amazing to a big nerd like me. So I was super grateful, super thankful. At the end of the video, I'm gonna have a little thank you slide for everyone that we talked to down there, everyone who helped us along the way. Really, really appreciated everything that all of you did. So from St. John, it's a flight to Toronto, a big old wait, a flight to Boston, and a really long Uber. But that's okay, that's East Coast Canada life. On the way to the hotel in the hour-long Uber, I got a kind of a vague note wondering if I was perhaps traveling today or in a hotel. Because we were all under that embargo, we were being coy. And it was Ryan from Ri-Fi Channel. He was at the same hotel. We met up downstairs. We chatted a little bit about what we were gonna see the next day, what to expect. He hadn't been to Hasbro headquarters either. We also met up with Foam from Above. That was really cool. We'd never met in person either. We had a good chat, lots of speculation, good times. I had a hard time sleeping. I was so excited. My big nightmare was I was gonna wake up and it was gonna be 11:30 and everything was gonna be half over. So I was kind of waking up constantly. I got there nice and early so I could get in some time with Mr. Potato Head and just soak it all in. I'm here in an Uber, driving away, and you'll never guess where I'm going. Or maybe you will guess. Eek. I missed. I'm just capturing some rare footage of an influencer in action. You probably know him from the Ri-Fi channel, but here he is in his natural habitat. I'm gonna shut up now so he can make his own content. And then while we were waiting and signed in, we saw some more familiar faces. We saw Luke from Out of Darts, we saw Drac, we saw Brian from Blaster Hub News. I was so excited to be down there with that crew and about to see some cool new stuff. These blasters just arrived, like literally just tonight, just arrived as I was doing this. This video is just meant to be a bit of a recap of the trip and what I thought of the blasters and the presentations and everything we saw down at Hasbro. And I'll be going through in detail, opening this up and doing a review on each of the blasters. Right out of the gate, one thing I do really want to say, because I see this comment a lot online, is people are like, Hasbro doesn't even care, man. They don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about making good products. I'm gonna say, after listening to some presentations from them and chatting with the product designers and some of the marketing folks and PR folks, they absolutely care. Yes, they're a big company. They need products to be profitable, but they want them to be good and they want them to be fun because they want them to sell well. And they do care about what we think in the hobby. And there's a lot of designers who are there who are either from the hobby or aware of things in the hobby. So I think we're a little quick to say they don't care. Now, I haven't just drank the Kool-Aid, honest. I mean, maybe a little bit. But I would say this when I've done reviews before. We all gotta remember there's people behind all these blasters. Generally, people are trying to do their best. And I think that's definitely the case with these ones. So once we got in, we got a little bit of a tour through, not really any footage inside. We had to keep cameras off. I did record some audio from the presentation. I wish I could have had some video because there's some great little product demos and charts and graphs. We'll get into the darts in a minute, but just going through not just the blasters that are here, but some of the future blasters in the lineup. Super, super exciting. Seeing prototypes and early mock-ups and early versions, from cardboard ones to printed ones, seeing prototypes for new types of air restrictors to work with the different darts and their whole process on the darts. It was, for me, and I think for everyone else there, incredibly cool to go through all of that and just see all the history that led to it. Random insert. It was also really cool when we were looking at all the older prototype stuff, just to see the original Big Shock and a Kronos, which were modded to be some of the first blasters to fire the N Series darts. Prototyping, but the modding that the designers at Hasbro were doing to do some testing. And it was really cool to see how well those darts popped at such like low volume out of the Kronos. They'd reduced the spring load, I think, and rebarreled it. It was so cool to see just all the testing, a lot of stuff like we would do. It was really neat. As Drac said a couple times, we're perhaps not so different. This is a messy video. It's not a good video. I'm just like amped up trying to get all of this out, and I'm really looking forward to having some more time at these blasters. Stick around. I'm going to talk about the darts kind of separately at the end. I want to get to that and have its own little bit, but I want to talk for a minute about the blasters and just at a high level to say, I have my little cheat sheet here. You know, we have the agility, which I don't even think I had any footage on the day, but it's kind of a strong arm type of pistols, but they've added another mechanism on the back to make it easier to prime. You'll see that in the reviews, and that came from all the kid testing and kid feedback that they gather when they do these. We have the N Series Infinite. We've seen a lot of that online. That's the one with the big belt mechanism inside of the big clip, and I will say from using that, it worked really well.
That's so cool.
I gotta watch out for darts. From this guy here. Oh, gosh. Right now that I took care of Maritime Foam, it's time for me to try this. It's a fun one.
It's really cool. I have a couple Titan drums that I just like basically bring out just for like videos and for fun, because like just like getting them to feed super consistently is so hard, but like this is awesome. Love this.
That's what I was saying in there. I don't know if you heard me. These originally the concepts, they had these on an angle. It looks so cool, you know?
Right.
But we were having trouble with these feeding consistently, not getting bogged down. And then you needed some, these are individual linkages, so they needed some slop to allow it to travel.
Right.
It just, feeding was inconsistent, so.
Yeah.
The designer in me was like, oh man, we had to make it straight. But,
Look cool, swept back, but.
Yeah. I still think it's really cool.
Working though is always.
Yeah, right. The priority for sure. In that case too, you don't have to take it out. You can just
keep topping up.
Side, you know?
Yeah.
I was disappointed that it wasn't a flywheeler. It was kind of funny when we were chatting in conversation with the developers. They were saying that the kids overwhelmingly, if they had a choice between it being motorized or being manual, but just getting more darts, they wanted more darts by a landslide. They are listening. They're not always listening to us, because I mean, I would have loved a motorized one. Maybe somebody will make it happen with those cool self-contained belt mags. Then we had the Pinpoint, and that's kind of the typical like sniper thing, has a little bolt action on it. That's not typically my personal jam, but you know that's gonna fly off the shelves with kids. It's got that scope. It looks cool. Worked really well. I was getting in the 90s with that.
This one is the Pinpoint, right?
89, 90.
Yours are so much better than mine.
Oh, what was yours?
Oh, never mind.
All of these blasters, that's another big thing I should say for the darts. Our new Nerf par is higher. It's now in the high 80s and 90s, which I think is really good. I want to touch really quickly on the new mags. The new mags are a little bit reminiscent of the ultra speed mags. These mags, you take the dart, you push them in, and they have retention nubs on either side, and they're spring-loaded. They are the most similar in how they work to a rival mag. If you hit the releases on those mags, the darts will just kind of like fly out. When you do eject a mag, if your mag's not empty, you will lose a dart. Now, the trade-off for that, which can be kind of annoying with rival mags, as we all know, is you don't have to prime the blaster to put a mag in or to take a mag out, which I will tell you is not a natural motion for any kid or adult who picks up a toy. So that was the Pinpoint, and then we have the Ward, which is a little two-shot smart AR blaster. Really cool at a really good price point.
Alright, as long as we're all doing it here. I'll trade back and forth.
My favorite blaster of the day was actually the Sprinter, the flywheeler one, because I'm a flywheel guy.
As the flywheel guy, I'm really liking this guy.
There's not actually one in this box. Spoiler alert, I should save that for the unboxing. But I have some footage here.
That's pretty good.
Oh, goodness.
I was getting 90s with that as well.
and it's just so snappy, and it worked really, really, really well. And again, I loved all of the history and early prototypes and sketches. What a treat it was to go down there. Again, thank you very much. At the end of this video, I'm going to have a little slide, just a little thank you slide with kind of the names, because I would fumble over all of them right now in my frantic last minute video I'm doing. I just want to acknowledge how welcoming everyone was and what a candid conversation we had. It was so interesting to have these conversations about these blasters. It was very much not a directed conversation. We kind of expected we'd have limited time. It was very much, you know, we talked about a lot. We talked about a lot of different blasters and the evolution of blasters and what blasters, you know, maybe weren't favorites and what blasters were favorites, and they carried those mechanisms forward because they were so good and they were worth reusing. We had a bit of a tour of the Hasbro manufacturing and production, where they do painting, where they do prototyping, where they do molds, these giant metal printing machines, and all the stuff that a bunch of nerds like us were just going crazy for. And, you know, not to mention just this little play area that they put together with chronographs, with digital targets. They really wanted us to be able to see that these new blasters work really well and hit those accuracy and speed claims. Like, they're not empty claims, like they can back that up. I'm not going to speak for everyone because they're going to have their own videos. I'm sure they'll have more detail faster than I do, but we were excited. We had so much fun playing with these.
You guys good? You're enjoying it?
Yes. Too much.
Right, yeah.
Any questions?
At the moment, no.
All right.
No, that's probably a really good sign.
This is better than sitting in there looking at a screen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's all about. Now, I said before, did I drink the Kool-Aid? Oh yeah. Partially. You've seen them in the leaks. They look like Ultra darts. These are the new, they're hollow inside. These are the new darts. They kind of have the shape of Ultra, but a little wider than a regular dart. But they're pretty cool. There was lots of talk of Dart DRM in the community, and people were like, ooh, what is this? It was interesting to see kind of their pitch on these darts and why they got to that point. The length of the dart was interesting. They actually showed us a choke gauge for children, because these are the 8+ category. Everyone's like, oh, and they won't do half darts, bro. I mean, that's what the pro line's for. They went about as short as they could while having these darts not be a choke hazard. So I was like, well, that's cool. That's cool to see. I like seeing the reasoning for that. Now, where I kind of fall off a little bit, the foam is great. It's kind of a pretty dense foam. They're hollow. They're not fill in, so they still have some squish. They are pretty accurate, but they're a different diameter, which that was a little disappointing. At least they're bigger, so you know, if you're modding, you can still tweak away. Bigger is better than smaller. We know that that's why we're not modding hyper blasters to do anything else. I enjoyed using the darts. They work pretty well. I don't know that they worked any better than a good solid Adventure Force waffle at those speeds. And they still have the same issue because they're not solid, they're hollow inside, and I'll have more close-ups in the review of the darts. If you step on those darts, like when I was first firing them and they were fresh, great. As we were playing and they got stepped on, I had a few squirrely ones because a dart got misshapen a little bit because an adult stepped on it. I would rather have we kept with the same dart ecosystem for sure, and I don't think that I'm alone in that by any means. But here's what I will say is cool, or interesting at least. We'll see if they have the stomach for it. They're planning on keeping these darts. These darts are gonna be the new darts. They're switching over from elites. And hey, elite darts, not good. These are gonna be the new style. It's gonna disrupt the industry. They're the biggest player. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they keep at it and these become the new Nerf standard dart. I don't get as upset about other people as lots of darts. I find when I'm going to events and playing, I like to keep fresh darts coming in, because as they get worn out, any dart isn't great to reuse infinitely. It looks like some decent price points on these darts. I'm gonna give them a try. I'm gonna be positive out of the gate for sure. Again, did I drink a bit of that Kool-Aid? Maybe a few sips. But I mean, I won't argue with anyone who's like, I wish they were just regular darts. I kind of wish that for lots of reasons too. Just for compatibility. If I'm gonna run one of these new ones and an older or other brand blaster and an HVZ, well, now I have two different types of ammo. I'm not gonna do that. I'm probably gonna drop one or the other. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can weather the storm of changing over to new darts, and if the general consumer cares, or if they just jump on. If these are all that are available in a while, maybe that will be fine. Oh, one more thing that I thought was really cool, a little bit of input that came in. A lot of these blasters you're gonna see, they don't have Slamfire. We asked about that and they were like, oh yeah, we know you guys love Slamfire. Apparently there's a lot of laws and regulations around not only kinetic energy, which we kind of knew about, and that's why, you know, different countries have problems importing blasters at kind of the same power, but decibel levels. And apparently, and I'm not an expert in this, but we all thought it was really interesting, all of us on the creator side, adding Slamfire made the blasters louder enough that they were available less places. And they were trying to do these to be as wide and worldwide as release as possible. So they removed Slamfire in a lot of cases because of noise issues. And noise issues are another reason that, you know, they would say they went with the dart design that they did. That was another factor. There'll be so much investigating of the new dart. That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see where it all goes. Another insert, another costume change. I just wanted to add a note about the darts that I don't think I mentioned and is really important that I wanted to mention. I think a big driver for these darts, as much as they were wind tunnel tested and they were striving for a good performing dart, I think the other big thing was safety. And yeah, they're a bit proprietary. And I think that a little part of that is protecting themselves as well. From a legal standpoint, they can control what their blasters do with their darts. And if it's their darts, they can't be held as accountable if it's someone else's darts in a blaster. Obviously, if you're the only one selling them, financially there's definitely a reason for that too. Darts can make a lot of money. I'm not saying that that's not a big factor, but I do think safety is a big one. That's why I'm pretty grateful that we're into the 90s from actual Nerf 8 Plus. I get nervous at some of the speeds that we're seeing from other blasters. I think Nerf, from some of our conversations, I think there's concern there that these other blasters are coming out with these 200 FPS out of the box. We are one really bad eye injury away maybe from really affecting the blaster hobby. So I feel like a lot of their safeguards and them wanting to be a leader in safety, I think that does factor in. Wanting to make money from selling all the darts that are going in Nerf blasters, absolutely a factor. I'm not saying it's not, but I know if you're building the blaster and you're doing all those safety bits, and that's why there can be so many locks and things. They were kind of showing us the tools that they use to actually gauge, are the flywheels far enough from a jam door that you can get away with not having a lock, or do you need a lock? You know, they don't want little fingers in flywheels. So all that safety stuff that they do, the darts are a factor. And if they can control the dart and the blaster, they know what to expect from a safety perspective. So I really do get that. We'll see if they change everything over, and we'll see if it actually makes other brands go, ugh, maybe we'll make a compatible dart with them. So who knows? Usually if a blaster company comes out with a proprietary dart, we go, well, that's a death blow. But when it's kind of the blaster company coming out with a unique dart, it kind of makes you pause a little bit. And for me, I'm always gonna love those Nerf shells. They just look so good. I've said enough. I gotta start working on the real review videos for these. Enjoy a little bit more footage of goofing around with the other guys at Hasbro HQ, firing some darts at each other. And I think I have a bit more video after this footage. What a video.
We're making a huge mess.
Should be.
I should start from the littlest one.
I'm having a hard time doing a good job covering things because I'm like, I just want to play with.
We're going to start with the smallest blaster. This is the... No, this is not the smallest blaster. Where's the... Well, we don't have it here. Okay. I'm excited to get these back home and get them tested in warehouse.
Could you do me a favor?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you mind taking a photo of me?
Sure.
Oh, this is perfect. This is a real game face. Take a look at
New competition standard right there. Oh, it's perfect. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm out. Ah! Aggressive. Thanks so much again to everyone at Hasbro. Names here. And while you're looking at these names, thanks so much to all of my fellow Nerf enthusiasts who were down there having such a great time and being good sports and playing around, shooting darts at each other. You guys also, you and Hasbro and everyone, made it just one of the best times that I've had in the hobby. So stay tuned for all of the reviews on N Series.